Hey everybody, I have a record here called Hate Me from Stacks727 featuring Hard Target. We're gonna go over songwriting, we're gonna go over using small techniques to make a record feel big, and we're also gonna go over some harmony work and how to use them correctly. So starting off in the intro, we put these beautiful vocals from the chorus. I don't know if they were exactly copied directly from the chorus piece. He might have actually re-recorded them, looking at them right now. Yeah, I believe he might have re-recorded them instead of copying. The instrumental is so beautiful in the beginning and just doing so much justice within this first 10 seconds. That Stacks and I agreed. I mean, we do this not often, but it's something that we do touch on a lot. So we just grabbed a piece from the chorus. I think it just, like I said, re-recorded it. And we threw it in the beginning. It's so good, man. Especially nowadays, we're in such a competitive realm as far as the music industry that options are unlimited and everything is at the press of a button. So the space of like competitive attention, it's within the first 10 seconds of the record. The listener is going to decide within that 10 seconds if they're going to continue listening or they're going to press next and go find something that they're vibing with. So within those 10 seconds, you really want to grasp and you really want to grab their ear. And I think we did well with this, man, because even just the instrumental and playing off of the way he recorded the chorus pieces, it immediately makes you want to listen to the rest of it. So good, man. So it does sound like it has some distortion and all that within it, but all we did was just filtered it. So we went about 600 up to about 1.7. And then realistically, that distortion's coming from the analog recording. So that just shows you that like tubes and preamps and all that are actually doing so much justice as far as adding harmonics and just a good character to it. And when you filter out everything, it just sounds so good. Just has that radio feel, you know? Let me take the filter off real quick. Honestly, that sounds beautiful too, but the character that we added to it gives it that moment of like, this is the intro, you're not just jumping right into the record. And it gives it that vibe because this is like a pop rock kind of like punk kind of vibe to it. So on this record, I really want to touch on the idea of harmonies and backgrounds and how using them correctly and well can honestly make a record feel huge, radio ready, industry standard, because without those pieces, I mean, nowadays, especially within hip hop, it's very much a lead vocal, some ad libs, and that's about it. You let the mixing carry the rest of it and just make an overall great record with production and all that jazz. But on a record like this as well, the way Stacks works with his harmonies, he knows what tone to reach for that's going to work well. And when we play the chorus, you'll hear how full and big it feels. The harmonies are subtle though. They're still subtle. So I'm actually going to go ahead and mute them. And then back in. Super subtle, but necessary. And as you can see, when I muted those harmonies, do you see how well Stacks' performance is? That's the key thing for your main vocals. And honestly, as an artist, if you're watching this, rehearsal, songwriting, and good practice to get those main vocals squared away and almost able to be played by themselves is a key factor. You can lay down a main vocal and put as many backgrounds on it as you want, but if that main vocal is not up to standard, you're still not going to hit what you're looking for. So you have to start with that basis. A good record starts with a good performance. So soloing out those harmonies, let me play them by themselves. I'ma make you hate me, hate me.
me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep. Swear you living in the matrix, just face.
Perfect pocket, absolutely perfect. As you can see, no harmony engines being created. We're not pitching anything. Stacks knows where to put his tone to reach the correct harmony, and it works so well. He has that high harmony.
I'ma make you hate me, hate me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep. Swear you living in the.
Beautiful. And then we went with a low.
I'ma make you hate me. Hate me, can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep.
Which ironically, I feel like you feel this low more than the high harmony in itself, and that's just because low end takes up more space, hits the ear harder, all that jazz.
I'ma make you hate me.
And as you can hear, super robotic-y, super crazy. You play them soloed, it sounds a little wild. You wouldn't really use them as your main vocals, but that's what the point of backgrounds and harmonies are. You're adding sauce and spice to that main vocal, which you can build around. So like I said, just it's super important to get that main vocal first, and then you add everything together.
I'ma make you hate me, hate me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep. Swear you living in the matrix, just face it. Without me, you just basic false reality.
Fantastic. And as you can see down below here, we did add a third layer. I don't think it was a harmony. Let me play it. Let me solo it.
I'ma make you hate me, hate me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they.
So it was an exact copy, not a copy, but it was the exact same tone as those main vocals, and we laid it. We tried it. We saw if it was gonna work, and that's a key thing too, as well, is don't be afraid to try these creative processes. If it doesn't work, you just don't use them. But if you don't know until you try them. So let me add that third one in here, and let's see why we chose not to use it.
I'ma make you hate me, hate me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep. Swear you living in the matrix, just face it.
I don't know, man. We might have been able to use it, but it's one of those decisions that you're making within the session. You know, heat of the moment. You're trying to decide what's going to work and what's not. And revisions and even putting a fresh ear on things may do it justice. Like right now, I wouldn't be mad if we did use that. I wouldn't be mad that we didn't use it. You know, it's just those creative decisions that you can't really dwell on them. You know, it's very important that try and be creative. Don't dwell on too many decisions. Obviously, make the big ones count. And then on the creative process, at the end of the day, people are not going to hear it the way that the creative process is hearing it. You know, as an engineer, they're not going to hear it the way I do. I'm talking about consumers and listeners. And then as the artist, obviously, like, I'm not even hearing the way the artist hears it. The artist isn't hearing it. I'm hearing it. Overall, we're not hearing it as a collective. It's very opinion based. So sometimes when you're hung up on a decision that's so minute and probably wouldn't even save a record or break the record, it's half the time it's best to just like step away and then make the decision later on, or just trust your gut. But we definitely could have used those, to be honest. I think we decided not to. I might have decided to take them out because sometimes I don't feel like a record should be too busy as far as layers and just going crazy with the, okay, let's do another take, another take. Sometimes simple is better. About midway into the verse, we did have some lyrics that we wanted to give it its moment. I'm not sure why we decided on these lyrics at that moment, but we did choose these and we kind of gave it its own vibe and feel.
Who you fucking to me for?
And it's as simple as a filter with a little bit of distortion thrown in, and it just separates it completely. You're in the middle of the verse, you're catching the vibe, you've been through the chorus, you hit this moment, breathe, give it a break. And honestly, it's gonna be a moment that sticks with the listener more than you think. With the hard target feature, we did send it out to get mixed by another camp, and when it was returned, it was missing this moment, and honestly, it was a deciding factor of like, is there a way to stick with the original mix or enhance it and make it better? We could have told them to throw this piece in there and all that, but it's like these moments that add that relationship as far as an artist and an engineer of like, we created that moment and it stuck so well and it worked so well that it's important to us, you know? So when you send it back and then you get it and you're like, oh man, like it's missing that one, like not even one little piece overall, but like it's just missing that pizzazz of knowing that like, yeah, we created that, you know? It's an ego thing, but at the same time, it's a creative process, and being creative, you have to have a little bit of that within it. Let me play that again for you.
Who you fucking to me for? I see you build your castle walls, but you protecting, baby.
And then let's mute those and see what it sound like just normal.
Bitch, I'm at the fool you fucking took me for. I see you, bitch, your castle walls, what you protecting, baby. A shallow jaw, broken heart, see.
It's not bad without it, right? It's not bad. But with it, it gives it that moment that's necessary for the record. And then obviously we took out the double when we created that because we don't really need that. Something I want to really emphasize while going over this record is Stack's songwriting. It's an overlooked process and it's very much something that's not talked about enough within artistry and the music realm, like how important songwriting is. And it's kind of rare to come across someone who's fantastic at it, and Stacks has been blessed and just super talented due to his grind and how many years he's put into this. Like, it shows within his songwriting especially. He puts you in a moment, and it's only using phrases and words and lyrics, but the way he structures it, along with his performance and rehearsal, it puts you in such a moment that you almost build a movie and a picture while listening to the record. And it's as simple lyrics as like, I'ma make you hate me. But the thing about that phrase and that lyric is majority of people have been through a point in their life where they're feeling resentful and, you know, they're feeling a certain kind of way emotionally. So now they want to dump it on the person they believe is responsible for that. And I'ma make you hate me translates to that, and it translates to an emotion that a majority of people that have experienced that emotion. And he opens with this lyric.
I'ma make you hate me. Can see the vision chasing daydreams while they sleep. Swear you're living in the matrix, just face it.
And just touching on that lyric right there, swear you're living in a matrix, just face it. He's writing in a perspective of, like, he doesn't have to get so detailed with, oh, they're not in reality, you're crazy, blah, blah, blah. It's the simple fact of you're in a matrix. And it immediately alludes to, like, being so detailed of, like, yeah, they're crazy. Oh, they don't live in this reality and blah, blah, blah. It's like he used this big phrase, shrunk it down to matrix, and it immediately paints that picture for you. It's that simple, but so good and effective.
Swear you're living in the matrix, just face it. Without me, you just basic false realities.
And following that matrix bar, you're going into basically him stating that, like, without me, you wouldn't be connected to any kind of reality. You'd be living in your own world. But he doesn't have to say that because the way he phrases the lyrics, it gets the point across nice and simple.
Without me, you just basic false realities.
And then rolls into the I'ma make you hate me. So as you can see, like, obviously this is super broke down, but it's these moments that you can miss just listening to a record. You know, in the creative process, I mean, I missed this while we were creating it. It's now when I look back at it, I realize, like, how incredible the songwriting is in this record especially, but just, like, in general, how important it is.
I'ma make you hate me, hate me. Can see the